You wouldn't expect a Supreme Court justice to have a whole lot to teach us about, well, about terror. But today, we're diving into this incredibly powerful and really personal story about facing down a primal fear, written by one of the sharpest legal minds in American history. So let's get into the deep end of this experience.
Okay, so we've all heard this quote a million times, right? From Franklin D. Roosevelt. But what's so wild is that a close friend and advisor to FDR, a man named William O. Douglas, would come to understand this idea not as some political slogan, but as a deep, hard-won, personal truth.
I mean, it's a nice thought, isn't it? But what happens when fear itself actually means staring death right in the face? For Douglas, this wasn't some philosophical exercise. It was real. And his journey is going to give Roosevelt's words a whole new meaning, a weight you've probably never even considered before. So our story doesn't start in a stuffy courtroom. It starts in the rough, unpredictable waters of a California beach. We're going all the way back to the moment a tiny seed of terror was planted in the heart of a very young William Douglas. Just try to picture it. He's just a little kid, maybe 3 or 4 years old, at the beach with his dad. He's hanging on tight, but the surf is just way too powerful. And then this one wave, it just crashes down, knocks him off his feet, and completely buries him. And he can't breathe. And here's the part that's just incredible. For his father, it's nothing. A funny moment, something to laugh about. But for this little boy, it is pure, absolute terror. It's his first real encounter with the overwhelming, unstoppable power of water. And that feeling, it found a place to live deep inside him. Okay, so fast forward a few years. He's about 10 or 11 now, and that childhood fear, well, it's about to get 1,000 times worse in the most traumatic way you can imagine. He just decided, to face his fears and learn to swim at the local YMCA pool. A safe place, right? So there's Douglas just sitting by the side of the pool, probably minding his own business, when this 18-year-old kid walks in. A beautiful physical specimen is how he described him, all muscles. The kid yells, "Hi, Skinny," and then, with no warning at all, just picks him up and chucks him into the 9-foot deep end. He hits the water and just starts to sink. The shock must have been immense. But his mind is still kicking. He's got a plan. He's going to hit the bottom and shoot back up like a cork. But that journey down, it feels like it's taking forever. Those 9 feet felt like 90. Then the physical reality just slams into him. His lungs are absolutely screaming for air. He forces his eyes open, and what does he see? Nothing. Nothing but this gross, murky, yellow blur. And the panic really starts to set in as he realizes his plan is not working. He's not popping up to the surface. He tries to flail his way up, but his legs feel like they're made of stone. He's being pulled down again. And this isn't just being scared anymore. No, this is what he calls sheer, stark terror. The kind that has no logic, no reason. It just takes over everything. And this is the absolute peak of it. He is completely helpless. His body is rigid, his limbs won't move, and he's trying to scream, but nothing comes out. The screams are literally frozen in his throat. The only thing he knows is the pounding in his head, the only sign he's even still alive. And then something really strange happens. The struggle just stops. The terror disappears, and it's replaced by this drowsy, quiet peace. He feels like he's floating, safe in his mother's arms. He just lets go. And the next thing he knows, he's on the side of the pool, vomiting water, saved at the very last second. Now, you'd think getting rescued would be the end of the story. But nope, not even close. In fact, it was really just the beginning of a lifelong battle. That terror from the pool didn't just fade into a bad memory. It became a permanent handicap. For years and years, this fear was like his shadow. It stalked him all across the country. It didn't matter if he was trying to fish for salmon in Oregon, or canoeing in Maine, or just wade into a stream in Washington. That same icy terror would grab him and just ruin everything. And listen, this wasn't just him being a little nervous. The fear was a physical handicap. His legs would literally paralyze. He called it an icy horror that would grip his heart. It just completely robbed him of all the joy he was trying to find out in nature. Finally, he just had enough. He got so tired of this fear running his life. So one October, he made a choice. He hired an instructor, and he decided he was going to learn to swim. For real this time. The instructor's approach was, frankly, brilliant. He knew you couldn't just conquer this fear all at once, so he broke it down. He literally built a swimmer, piece by piece.
First, a rope and pulley system, just for safety. Then, hundreds and hundreds of breathing exercises. Then, weeks of just kicking, retraining his legs to actually listen to him. And only then did he put all the pieces together. So by April, the instructor tells him, okay, you can swim now. But Douglas knew the job wasn't really done. The real test wasn't about the swimming strokes. The real battle had to be fought alone inside his own head. He had to go face to face with Mr. Terror. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Yeah, he could do the motions of swimming, but had he actually defeated that deep psychological terror that had been his shadow for years? He had to find out for sure. So he cooks up the ultimate test. He goes to a lake, dives off a dock, and starts swimming 2 miles to an island on the other side. And sure enough, out there, in the middle of all that deep, dark water, when he put his face down and saw nothing but the bottomless black, the old terror started to creep back in. But this time was different. This time, instead of panicking, he confronted it. He actually spoke to his fear. He challenged it. And in that one moment of pure defiance, the terror just lost all its power. It fled, and he swam on. So through this whole insane ordeal, from almost dying in a pool to finally conquering his demons, Douglas gained this incredibly profound understanding of fear, of life, and even of death itself. And here it is. We've come full circle. Because he had actually felt what it was like to die, he realized something amazing. Death itself holds this strange kind of peace. The real enemy, the thing that's actually horrible, is the fear of it. He finally truly understood what his friend Roosevelt meant, on a level most of us, thankfully, will never have to. In the end, this story shows us that conquering our fear isn't just about surviving, it's about being truly free to live. And it leaves every single one of us with a really big question. What deep water in your own life are you ready to conquer?